So basically, 3 weeks into being in school, one day I was sleeping, one night, basically, this is about to get really quick. I was sleeping, and basically I had been getting, every day I was getting annoyed. Like, everybody was bothering me at school. They would bother me and ask me if I was scared, if I thought that something was gonna happen to me. And I'm just like, how is anything gonna happen to me? I'm in school. I'm not scared. I wasn't scared of Heather. I wasn't scared of Sharkeisha. I wasn't scared of anybody. So it was kind of like, what's the deal, So they had their own personal issues with me because of Nikki. Nikki was not speaking, but Nikki was talking behind my back. So one day I woke up and my only friend at school, sent me a screenshot, and she was like, girl, this is what they said about you in the group chat. Go check it out. So when I went on the class group chat and I scrolled up, the kids were basically just talking and talking and talking, but they weren't talking about me. They were sending pictures, and they were all just laughing, and they literally filled up the group chat with a whole lot of things. When I finally got to the top of the group chat, somebody had sent a video. Well, not a video, excuse me. Somebody had sent the beginning of their essay that we were supposed to be writing. I'm not sure what it was supposed to be about. I think it was supposed to be about mental illnesses and a boy who I was raised with, who I went to school with my whole kindergarten. I went to school with in kindergarten. We live in the same neighborhood. He lived right across from my house, literally, when I was little. And till this day, we still lived in the same neighborhood, you feel me? So when he went to the school, he used to get bullied by Heather too. And Heather happened to be bullying people for being black. She was bullying him for being black. And I guess he was trying to fit in like all those other kids. And he sent this paper. He sent the beginning of his paper. And it started off with basically, there's this disease called the Kiara disease, and that if you get it, you're gonna become stupid, and that if you have it, you might as well just kill yourself, and if you have it, like, you're dumb as f-. And basically, it was basically a whole paper about how dumb I am, and how with my dumbness was basically classified as a disease. I was classified as a disease, not my dumbness. I was classified as a disease. So when I noticed and I saw it, when I went through the chat, the kids were like, oh my God, they were all laughing, but I was sleeping, so I didn't see it. And then somebody said, yo, if she wakes up and she sees this, she might go and tell the teachers on us. Let's cover it up. So they basically all went together, my classmates, all of the people I went to school with, all the people I was in class with, they all covered up what had been said about me. They all just started sending random pictures, and they were sending random messages and random long paragraphs and random things, just so the chat could just be filled with a lot of things, so that when I would wake up, I wouldn't see it in the morning. So when I woke up, I genuinely didn't see it. If it weren't for my friend in the group chat, who I guess they thought was on their side, I wouldn't have known that they were talking shit about me. So when I woke up, I called my sister, and I was crying because I couldn't deal with it anymore. I had told them to stop. I didn't go to the office about it. I didn't go to my mom about it. I didn't go to anybody about it. I basically was just telling my sister about it, and everybody was aware that I was getting kind of bullied, Not bullied. I didn't see it as getting bullied because nothing happened to me, you feel me? Like, nobody was behind closed doors. They were talking they were talking about me, but when I was there, they would never say anything to my face. And I had a friend in school. I didn't need to be friends with all these other kids because I had already said I didn't like what they were about. They were all materialistic. They all cared about the wrong things. So whatever, they all basically teamed up against me, and they all covered up their tracks, because if I woke up and I found out, they were scared that I would go and tell a teacher, or that I would tell the principal, or that basically I would snitch. I woke up that morning and I cried. I had cried before about the situation, but it wasn't as bad, if you ask me, so I could deal with it, even though I wasn't happy in school. And just like I had left Montreal because I wasn't happy in school, I was depressed. My depression got a bit worse, and I was just trying to deal with the whole thing. So I'm sorry guys, my nose is clogged. So as I was saying, I called my sister, and my sister got really pissed, and my sister called my mom because it was mad early in the morning. My sister called my mom, and my sister told my mom all about it. My mom got really pissed, and my mom called the principal. And I wasn't aware. I was still at home. My mom had texted me, and she told me to stay home and that I didn't need to go to school today, because why would I go to school? Everybody was talking shit about me. Why would I go to school? So I was like, all right, cool. So I stayed home, and I went back to sleep. When I woke up, everybody had left the group chat. Everybody had left the class group chat. And my best friend at school texted me, and she asked me if I was okay. And I was like, yeah, why? And she told me that a lot of people were getting sent to the office. And I was so freaking confused. I was like, what's going on? And when I called my mom, she told me that she was getting sick and tired, because my sister told her all about how I was getting, people were bothering me at school. She had seen me cry before, and she didn't really understand. I had told her that everything was going to be okay, and she felt like things were not going to be okay. So she did go, and she talked to the principal. She was not in town. My mom was not in town when this happened, so I was home alone, and she called the principal, and she told the principal what had happened. So all the kids that were involved basically got caught because of the class group chat. I wasn't at school that day, so I don't understand why I was the one that was getting called out for it, because I didn't tell. I just told my mom. I didn't even tell my mom. I just told my sister. My sister told my mom. A lot of kids got in trouble for it. So the next morning when I woke up to go to school, my mom came back home from her business trip. And the next morning I woke up to go to school, and when I got there, nobody wanted to talk to me. Well, it's not like I was the most popular person, but genuinely at that point, everybody was staying away from me. Like, stay the away from Kiara, she has a disease. So yeah, everybody was staying away from me, and some girl from a class higher than me came to me, and she told me that the teachers had gone, and they all went to go speak about what had happened to me while I wasn't there, and that they basically told everybody what happened, and that and the school basically saw me as a model child. They were starting to raise awareness for bullying after I had gotten bullied. So I was not with it, and they called me in the office, and they asked me to tell them basically what had happened, who was involved, and I was not having it. I was like, I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. It was never my intention. I just called my mom. And my mom basically, as a worried parent, called the school. So I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, and I'm not scared of anyone. I had told them to leave me alone, and they didn't. So now that they're paying the consequences of their actions, I don't want to be blamed. I don't want to be a part of this whole thing. Please put my name out, because I didn't do anything, I was just trying to stay out of it, because I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for people to bother me. I didn't ask, because I was new. Y'all didn't know me. They didn't know what I was made of, and they didn't know what the fuck my mom was made of. My mom was not playing. So my first day back in school was the worst. When I got into my class, everybody was just staring at me, not talking to me, except for my one friend. And during lunchtime, I was sitting down with my friend and we were just talking, and then Sharkeisha called her. Sharkeisha, who was sitting down with Nikki, Elizabeth, Heather, a whole group of them. They were all sitting down together, and they called my friend as we were sitting on the table together. Like I told you guys, we usually sat on our own table during lunchtime by ourselves, and they called her. So they called her, and I don't think she realized what was going on at that moment, but what was going on was that they wanted to exclude me so I could be left alone. So I was by myself, basically. I had to eat lunch by myself. They kept her on their table for like the longest time. And when I realized what was going on, I basically got up and I went to the bathroom and I basically just poured my heart out. At that moment, I didn't understand what was going on. And I asked God to basically, like, why was all of this happening to me? I didn't think it was fair. Even though I didn't understand, Jeremiah 9:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a better future." So I understood that maybe even though this was happening, because I didn't feel at home where I was at the school. The school, it was really not the place for me to be at. The kids were not my type of people. So later on that day, when it was time for me to go home, this girl came to me, and the girl who was basically supposed to show me around and never did. She told me that I had to go apologize to Heather because, I had done her a lot of, like, I had hurt her a lot, and that I had to go apologize to her for being a snitch, because that's what I was being called. I was being a snitch for standing up for myself. I was like, girl, what is going on here? Like, I'm not going to apologize to anybody for anything, because I didn't do anything, you know? Like, I didn't bully her. I didn't do anything. It's not my fault that her words got into the hands of the principal, because I'm not the one that went to go tell. You feel me? I'm not the one that started this whole thing. So you got yourself in it, get yourself out. You feel me? Because I didn't get myself a part of it. God was about to get me out. Basically, when my mom came and picked me up after school, I was crying and crying and crying. I had told her I didn't want to go back, and it's like she already knew. She had already looked for a different school. But thing is, the school that I was supposed to get enrolled in had started already. It had been a month or two, and they only accepted about like 25 kids per class, and my classroom was filled with 27 kids. So when I went to go to get like for the interview so I could see if I was going to be able to get in, they asked me if I didn't get in, what would I do? Like, what would be my plan B if I didn't get into the school? I said, well, I was gonna go back to the other school. Honestly, I'm just gonna end it right here. I was basically bullied for standing up for myself. I said to stop. I had asked them to stop, and I had told them that if they didn't stop, don't come for me, because I told you to stop. You feel me? Because I was not bothering anybody. So the spirit of God is with me, and I'm a very courageous person, and I will always stand up for what I believe in. And if I believe something is wrong, I'm gonna stand up for that. And I believe that bullying somebody until they basically submit to you, because that's kind of what the kids did at that school. They made you feel excluded until you felt like you had to do things for them or act a certain way so you could fit in, because that's what my friend who used to live right across the street from me, that's what he did. That's what Nikki did, because when Nikki used to talk to me, she used to tell me that they used to bother her, they used to do this to her, they used to do that to her. Eventually she ended up fitting in. So I was gonna be bothered until I fit in, and I was not having it at all, because And after everything happened with Heather, she sent me this big letter to apologize to me, to tell me that she didn't mean it, and that she didn't basically apologize. But I could tell that she didn't mean anything that she was saying. And after that, I basically got the name of a snitch. I got called out as a snitch. And when I used to go out to parties, basically I used to get bullied continuously. I used to get called out and I used to get picked on. But I didn't care because I didn't do anything wrong. All I did was stand up for myself. And the justice, what had to be done was done. It was God's plan, honestly, truly. I ended up leaving that school and transferring to another school, which I had such a great experience at. I want to get into more details about everything. But basically, when God has a plan for your life, He'll basically do anything that He can to fulfill it. Back then, I didn't see the bigger picture, and I would love to continue. This is a very long story, and I want to finish it. I want to finish everything and tell you guys how everything ended up and what ended up happening to everybody, because there was a lot of measures had to be taken. I want to tell you guys everything, but that's a story for another time. I just basically woke up this morning and I had it in my heart to tell my story, my side of the story. And just because people don't like you for being you doesn't mean you have to change who you are. I didn't do anything and I wasn't accepted at a school where I see exactly why I wasn't accepted. I wasn't like everybody over there. They were very all focused on one thing, and it was really, they were focused on their reputation. And it's not to say like their reputation in the good sense. It was their name, you know, the name that they have, the name that they made for themselves at the school. It didn't matter who you were or where you came from. If you didn't have a name, you weren't accepted. And me, little old me, Kiara Peen, who the fuck am I? Who am I? Nobody. So I was not accepted, which is fine. It's understandable. I understand now why they had to attack me. They saw something in me that they didn't see before. I was brave, I was bold, and I stood up for myself, and I'm no shame in it. Now, before they went around and they called me a snitch, and maybe I could have told the story a better way. I wish I could have used real names, and I wish I could have. It's such an old story that, like, me going into it now, I feel like my brain is scattered and I can't really put all the pieces of the puzzle together. But all I know is what happened to me was unfair. And I know it happens to a lot of kids. And after I left the school, they used my name as a name to raise awareness for bullying, which I'm not happy about, because I'm not some sad story, something that you need to feel bad for, because I didn't feel bad for myself. I stood up for myself, and I think that every time a kid gets bullied, I'm glad that I was able to leave that image, the image of somebody who was able to stand up for themselves and who was able to stand up and say, I'm not going to deal with this bull, and I'm leaving. There's nothing too hard for God. When I left the school, I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't know how I was going to get into any other school, considering everybody had already started school. But God had different plans for me, and He had a different plan for my future. Plans not to harm me, but plans for me to prosper. So I want to continue, and I have more to tell you guys. I have a lot of other stories I want to tell, and from my side, honestly, because I've heard a lot of stories about me, and none of them are even close to remotely being the truth. This story, basically the truth is I stood up for myself, and I do that all the time. And now that I have this platform, I'm going to use it to speak out on the issues on issues, and to speak out and give my truth, because it's not fair that when things happen, everybody has a different story, and the only story that is never told out loud is the truth. So I'm here to give my truth. Thank you for listening, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. It's not like all the other story times, but it is like the next ones to come. I have a lot to tell you guys. I have a lot to share. I have a lot to open up about. And I hope I was able to make this story pretty clear. If I wasn't, then oops, I'm sorry. I just want y'all to know that regardless of anything that might happen to you, you might not understand what you're going through and why you're going through it. But God has a plan for you, and He has a plan for your life. And stand up to your fucking bullies, because, listen, they will think they're winning. So if basically you have your own story to tell, and if you're getting bullied, I would like to advise you to please stand up for yourself. Stand up to your bullies, because you're a winner, not them. They're not winning. So please, you guys, that's basically all I had to say. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time in my next video.